I spent 100 days in Minecraft PIXELMON, but I can only use legendary Pokemon. Legendaries only have a 1 in 10,000 chance of spawning, making them incredibly rare. And I certainly consider myself a Pokemon master, but this challenge will be nearly impossible even for me. I have 3 specific goals for these 100 days. First is to attain a shiny legendary Pokemon. Shinies have a 1 in 4,096 chance of spawning, but luckily I do have some other ideas to attain such a rare Pokemon. Number 2 is to get a mega legendary Pokemon. There are only a few mega Pokemon in the game and even fewer legendary mega Pokemon. My third goal is to fuse 2 legendary Pokemon together to create a god Pokemon. The server I'm playing on has a ton of fusion Pokemon, and I want to create one to be the strongest Pokemon on the server. And for a bonus goal, I want to create a gym on the server for you guys to come on and battle for yourself. Whatever team I have at the end of this 100 days is the team that the gym leader will have in my gym. And with all that being said, let's start off our adventure. On day 1, I selected baby Rayquaza as my starter Pokemon. He was adorable and looked like a pool noodle, so of course I named him Noodle. I know he looks tiny and innocent right now, but he will eventually evolve to be one of the strongest Pokemon in the world. Noodle was so cool and rare that many players got on just to look at him. And luckily, custom Pokemon like Noodle are not the only feature that this server offers. You see, Smash MC offers many unique ways of attaining rare Pokemon, such as custom Lucky Blocks, textured legendary eggs, and legendary crates. Using some of these features will be very helpful to attain more legendary Pokemon in this journey. The first thing I did after admiring my legendary starter Pokemon was redeem some treasure hunt boxes at spawn. This was a great way to start our journey off on the right foot. I was able to get money, Pokeballs, random Pokemon, Lucky Blocks, and even a legendary orb. Legendary orbs are perfect for our objective. They have the ability to spawn in one of the legendary bird trios, Articuno, Zapdos, or Moltres, depending on what evolution stone you fuse it with. And I wanted to fuse it with the Fire Stone because Moltres is my favorite of the 3 birds. So I went to the mart and with the money I made from the treasure hunt, bought a Fire Stone to fuse with the orb. And just like that, we already had an orb of fiery souls. Unfortunately though, I still have to collect the souls of over 350 Pokemon in order for the orb to activate. Next, I decided to RTP into the wilderness to look for a good spot to set up my base. And luckily, I RTP'd right into a village. This was a perfect spot to set up my own base. And of course, as everyone does, I pillaged all the resources from the village that I could. Put him up! Quick! Give me all your money! I have a baby Rayquaza and I'm not afraid to use him! Don't mind if I do. Thank you very much. Thank you for the cash register. Please don't call the authorities. And after taking everything I could think of from the village, I found my first target for Noodle to get his first elimination, a Kakuna. So I sent Noodle out, and he already had the move Dragon Ascent, which was perfect against Kakuna, and 2 turns later, Noodle got his first elimination and his first level. Noodle went on a tear, taking out any Weedle or any Kakuna in his sight. And before I knew it, Noodle was already level 10. They grow up so fast. I decided to give Noodle a little bit of rest, and I found 2 rare Pokéloots on the ground. The first one was black glasses, and the second one was a stupid papaya berry. I thought this old monk would enjoy papaya berry, but no! I think he didn't appreciate that I haven't showered in a couple days. Before I got too ahead of myself and leveled Noodle all the way up to level 100, I decided to start building my base of operations. I spent all the money I got from the spawn treasure hunts on building blocks, then got to work. I wanted this build to have a Pokemon theme to it, so I built it with that style in mind. And just so we're all clear, I am a pretty poor builder. And I know this one in particular came out looking like Dirt Boy built it, but I promised myself I would improve this build as the 100 days went on. And by the way, if you guys do want to join me in this town, make sure to join the Zacian server on Smash MC and type /Warp Siren. That will take you to my house where you can start building too. Anyway, after building a house that looked like it's been through war, before, I decided to go back to training Noodle. I knew that at level 50, he would finally evolve into the almighty Rayquaza, and I couldn't wait to get him. So I trained him for a couple of days until he got to level 33. But honestly, training can be pretty exhausting, so after I was done, I decided to do one of my favorite things in all of PIXELMON: open lucky blocks. I received 8 common blocks and 5 uncommon blocks from the spawn hunts, and breaking these could make or break our entire adventure. You see, these blocks have a chance to spawn any Pokemon at random, and even have a chance to upgrade into rare and epic blocks that guarantee a legendary spawn. If any of these blocks upgrade to that tier, I would finally be able to use a second Pokemon. So I placed my first common lucky block down, broke it open, and got a Cherubi. I caught it nonetheless because I actually had a scroll, and one of the quests on it was to capture 15 Pokemon. I opened the rest of my lucky blocks and got a Roggenrola, Drillbur, Ledian, Tauros, Haxorus, and a Persian. But finally, my last lucky block upgraded into an uncommon one. This meant that I now had 6 uncommon lucky blocks. These blocks guarantee a shiny Pokemon, and if they upgrade, it would mean that we got a legendary Pokemon next. So I placed all 6 blocks down, and as the sun rose, I prayed to the PIXELMON gods that one of these would upgrade. My first Pokemon was a shiny Geodude. I was nervous. My heart was pounding. I knew that this would be one of the best opportunities I could ever get to acquire a legendary Pokemon. I opened my second block and got a Clobbopus. Really? A Clobbopus of everything? I opened my next block and honestly, I thought I was getting trolled. I got a shiny Spheal. Nonetheless, I caught it and stashed it away in my PC to never see the light of day again. I broke my next block with anticipation, and it happened! I got myself a rare lucky block! The PIXELMON gods do exist! The thing is, as well, is this lucky block can actually upgrade again into a Master Ball or epic lucky block. And if it does, then that would mean I would get a shiny legendary Pokemon. But before I opened that lucky block up, I decided to open up the last 2 uncommons. I got a Delibird and another upgrade! This was honestly the absolute best case scenario. I was absolutely not expecting to attain 2 rare lucky blocks from the few lucky blocks that we started with, but I can't say I was disappointed. This was such a relief because my only Pokemon that I could use up until this moment was Noodle, and whatever 2 Pokemon I got from these lucky blocks, I knew would be Noodle's new role models. And for good luck, I decided to put 1 dirt block on top of the first rare lucky block. Then I opened it and got a Volcanion! Volcanion is one of the only fire and water type Pokemon in the entire game. And it even has the ability Water Absorb, so water moves don't even affect it. It's easily one of the cooler legendaries. The only problem with it is it didn't have any fusion counterparts, and that is what I was hoping for most. Then it was time to open up the final lucky block. I took a deep breath, approached it, and gave it 1 big ol' wallop. Oh my gosh! Let's go! Yo, no way I got a Mewtwo, bro. And just like that, boys, we got one of the most overpowered Pokemon of all time, a Mewtwo. Mewtwo was one of my favorite legendaries, so I decided to fly on him for a bit in celebration. Woohoo! Let's go! Imagine you're a little tiny Sentret and you just see a giant Mewtwo flying above. Attack! Oh, that's awkward. After messing around with Mewtwo for a bit, I decided to get back to business. Now that I had multiple Pokemon, it was time to take on one of the server's biggest challenges, the gyms. These gyms are great for making money and collecting fusion shards, which are needed to attain fusion keys. So to prepare for the gym, I EV trained all 3 of my Pokemon. Noodle in attack and speed, Sponge in special attack and speed, and Frieza in special attack and speed as well. Oh, yeah, I nicknamed my Volcanion Sponge for its water absorbability and Mewtwo Frieza for obvious reasons. And now it was finally time to battle. So I went to the first gym full of confidence, and well, it was much harder than I predicted. Psych! We destroyed the first gym, tearing it to bits! I think I might have even made the gym leader want to retire. I received $3,000, lucky eggs, Pokeballs, and a fusion shard for defeating defeating the gym. This was great because I used to be poor and now I could afford to buy TMs for my Pokemon. Unfortunately, I was about to face my biggest challenge yet, the 5th gym. It was an electric type gym, and with Noodle being a flying type and Sponge being water, it was very good against my team. It even had the legendary Pokemon Tapu Koko, and for obvious reasons, the battle didn't last too long. After all the destruction I put Lieutenant Surge's co-workers through, it was time for me to get punished. In about 5 turns, the battle was over, and I was very ashamed, especially because I had a crowd of fans watching. I felt like Gary Oak, but instead of being awesome and always winning, I was publicly humiliated. And after totally not crying at all, I knew it was time to get back on the grind. I didn't realize I'd have a rival going into this 100-day challenge, but Lieutenant Surge has given me no choice. My new most important goal was to destroy him. To do that, I had to train up Noodle and get more Pokemon. So I went back to my home to check on the progress I had made with my legendary orb. It was about 80% full, so I decided to get back on the mission of collecting more Pokemon souls. And after a while of eliminating Pokemon, Noodle was up to level 45 and my orb was full. I was pretty nervous because I didn't have any Master Balls and I haven't caught any Pokemon yet, but I knew that adding a 4th Pokemon to the team would be crucial. So before spawning it in, I went to the mart to buy some Quick Balls, and I also bought Thunder Wave and taught it to Mewtwo so that I could instantly paralyze it. It's probably important to note that if I failed to catch Moltres in my first battle, it despawns forever. A lot rode on this moment, and I could feel the pressure. Next, I walked up to the shrine and added the orb, and immediately the Moltres spawned and engaged in battle. The first thing I did was say a prayer and throw a Quick Ball at it. The way Quick Balls work is the earlier in battle you are, the more effective the ball is. Unfortunately, that didn't work. So next, I paralyzed it and did some damage with Frieza. But after a while, I was starting to lose hope, because every time I threw a Pokeball at it, it would barely even wiggle and then break free. It was a very slow and tedious grind, but after over 30 Ultra Balls later, I finally caught it. Let's go! I was so hype. My 4th Pokemon was finally acquired. Shortly after though, I realized I had a common quest scroll in my inventory that I had completed. I wasn't even sure what the challenges were, but I right-clicked to redeem the rewards. I got $1,000 and 8 rare candies from it, which was nice, but the best part was it reminded me of the Battle Pass rewards, which you get just for playing on the server. And so I checked the Battle Pass and found out that I was already level 6. And so I redeemed all of those rewards as well. But all of this reminded me that I asked the managers in the beginning of this adventure to add a feature where every time I defeat a gym, I got 500 Smash Coins. And since I defeated 4 gyms now, that meant I had 2,000. Smash Coins are what you can use to buy really good items like Lucky Blocks and Crate Keys. But instead of doing the smart thing and buying a legendary Crate Key, I bought something even cooler. You see, it's not always about how strong your Pokemon are, it's also about how the trainer looks. So I decided to indulge in the server's finest drip and bought myself Galarian Moltres wings for 1,500 coins. Yo, this is sick! What's up, dude? You jealous of my wings? This dude's definitely scared of me now. Okay, buddy. Maybe I lied. Maybe it is all about the Pokemon. This dude is literally a Steve skin with 0 drip at all, and he has one of the coolest fusion Pokemon that we've ever made. Okay, I'm kind of embarrassed, I'm not gonna lie. And speaking of money, by the way, guys, there's something that I have to admit. I'm addicted to spending all of my money on building blocks. I know, in this 100 days, I'm supposed to create the best Pokemon team to ever exist, blah, blah, blah. But what good is that without a nice home to go along with it? And now I have $61. So now, poor as ever, I spent the next couple of days working on my home. And it was a little bit of a struggle, to be honest, because I kept running out of blocks that I needed. So being the peasant that I am, I ran around and collected blocks the hard way. And as I was out and about, literally jumping around, I managed to increase my acrobatics level to level 5, which actually rewarded me with $500. And what happened next was pretty strange, because in one instant I had $500 and the next, poof, it was gone. I have no idea what happened. But in the end, not only did I manage to complete most of the structure of my house, but I was also able to add some decorations as well. So now, when I destroy Lieutenant Surge, I'll have somewhere pretty nice to celebrate. My favorite part about the house is I made the stairs just like how they are in the Pokemon games, where you walk up the stairs and you teleport to the next level. But anyway, speaking of Lieutenant Surge, I still had a lot of training to do, and so it was time to get back to work. And my next objective was a pretty fun one, I have to admit, and it was to finally evolve Noodle into the giant majestic dragon he was destined to be. Luckily, he was already level 45, and he evolved at level 50, which meant he only needed 5 more levels to become Rayquaza. Just as I started to venture out to level up Noodle, I claimed my daily reward and got 16 Ultra Balls and another common scroll. That reminded me, I really needed to get my hands on a Master Ball. The Moltres battle really opened my eyes to how difficult catching legendary Pokemon really is. So instead of training in the wild, I traveled to an area where you can not only level up Pokemon, but get rare loot and money as well. The Boss Tower. The biggest issue with the Boss Tower is that the Pokemon are very, very strong. But if you manage to eliminate them, it's very easy to make money. My plan was to use the Boss Tower to evolve Noodle and make enough money to buy a Master Ball from another player on the server. The first Pokemon I faced was a level 100 Meowscarada. Luckily, we now have a Moltres on our team, which absolutely destroyed it. We received an XP Candy M, $350, and a Protector. Then I decided to put an XP share on Noodle. This way he would get experience no matter which of my Pokemon eliminated another one. And after just a couple battles later, Noodle was level 46. I was getting amazing loot, including hundreds of dollars every single battle and even items like leftovers. Eventually, I found this epic Arcanine, which I managed to take down with Frieza and Sponge. And from just this one Pokemon, I got $500, a good rod, and a lucky egg. And Noodle was now level 49, meaning only a couple of more battles, and he will evolve to be one of the strongest Pokemon on the server. And one giant Tyrantrum later, and it was happening. Noodle was finally evolving into Rayquaza. He looked amazing. Noodle and I have been through such a long journey already. I was so proud of him and the monstrous dragon he had become. But there was still so much more journey left, and Noodle knew that. And after being at the Battle Tower for quite some time, we racked up almost $5,000, which surely would be enough to buy a Master Ball. So I went into the GTS to look for some. I saw a lot of Pokemon and eventually stumbled across 4 Master Balls for $100,000. No. Actually, I think I'm not gonna do that. But I kept looking and found another Master Ball for $800,000. And then I exited out of the GTS and cried myself to sleep. Turns out, guys, Master Balls are a lot more expensive than one might assume. So instead of buying a Master Ball, I went back to the Pokeball merchant and did the noobiest thing ever and bought an entire stack of Ultra Balls. Yet another L for Mr. Sirud. Now, if you guys remember, one of my goals is to attain a Mega Legendary Pokemon. And luckily, Rayquaza has a very unique way of Mega evolving. Instead of needing a Mega Ring like all of the other Mega Pokemon, Rayquaza only needs to know the move Dragon Ascent. This is a flying type move that does 120 damage. Luckily, baby Rayquaza knew this move from the start. So that means I can Mega Evolve Rayquaza now, right? No. You see, not only do Pokemon either need a Mega Stone or a specific move learned in order to Mega Evolve, but the trainer needs to be wearing a Mega Ring as well. And although I'm known as the Drip King, I still don't have a 24-karat gold ring around my finger. There are 2 ways to attain a Mega Ring. One is to find a Mega Pokemon in the wild and defeat it, which is insanely rare and nearly impossible to find. The other option is to defeat me. Yes, me. There is a this Sirud NPC at the top of the boss tower that gives out a Mega Ring if you defeat it. The problem is I'm the GOAT and undefeated. No one has ever defeated that trainer. So some would say I'm in quite the pickle. The fastest way for me to get a ring on my finger is probably to find the love of my life and quit PIXELMON forever. But that's not the way we roll. PIXELMON is life! In /store, there's new stuff. I still have $500. Oh, I could buy a Kyogre head. Dude, I could add Charizard X wings! No, instead I have these. Actually, these are still pretty sick. Which one do I buy? Arceus head, Kyogre head, or Mewtwo head? Ooh, do I buy an Epic Crate-Key? Nah, I don't buy an Epic Crate-Key. You know what we do. Kyogre head, come on now, let's go. Yes, sir, yo-ho. Oh my God. This boy is dripping now. And now I have 0 Smash coins. I ran around aimlessly and thought about the best approach to defeating the Sirud NPC. And after much thought, I realized the answer was simple. Entei. Yes, I know there are a couple of stronger and fancier Pokemon like Arceus, Zacian, Zamazenta, Lugia, Kyogre, Groudon, Xerneas, Yveltal, Dialga, Palkia, Giratina, Darkrai, Giachi, Deoxys, Ting, Lucia, and Pal, Tapu Koko, Solgaleo, and Eternatus. But that's not the point! Entei has a very special place on this team because Moltres and Entei have the ability to fusion and create an insanely strong Pokemon known as Eruptrace. Now, capturing Entei would be quite difficult, so I'm just gonna buy him. And according to the community, they sell for around $50,000. With some quick math, that's about $50,000 more than I currently have. So I think I need to start selling some things. First, I listed 4 fusion shards for $70,000. And if those sold, I would be in really good shape to get my hands on an Entei. Now, you might be wondering, why on earth would you sell fusion shards if you plan on fusing a Pokemon? Don't you need those shards to craft a fusion key, Daddy Sirud? Can't believe I actually wrote that in the script. Typically, yes, but I have big brain the system. In the battle pass, I am now level 48, only 2 levels away from level 50. And what's the reward at level 50, you may ask? You guessed it, an entire fusion key. And so I feel like my plan is pretty obvious at this point. Sell all my fusion shards, get to level 50 on the battle pass, and redeem the fusion key. This was actually the first time I checked my battle pass in a while, so I redeemed all the rewards, then got back to grinding it. Turns out you actually get some pretty cool stuff. I had 8 more common lucky blocks and 1 uncommon, along with a bunch more battle items and some random Pokemon papers. I even got 2 random eggs. So I decided to hatch them first, and I got an Anubis Skinny and an alternative Eevee. I didn't realize at the time, but these eggs were actually like special custom textured eggs. How much do you sell for? Please sell for $1 million. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty shocked by these eggs. Unfortunately, they were both pretty trash when it comes to their IVs, but I decided to list them on the GTS anyway. I put the Eevee up for $15,000 because I have no idea what I'm doing. And I listed the Skitty for $1,500 because everybody hates Skitty. Next, I redeemed my random ice Pokemon and got an Abomasnow. Then I opened my shiny triple choice, which allowed me to select 1 of 3 shiny Pokemon. My options were Drifblim, Caracosta, and Blipbug. And I decided to go with the Pennywise Balloon Drifblim. Whoa! My Eevee sold! Yes! Inland Mammal! Bought my Eevee for $15,000. Let's go. Boys, we're at 43K. We actually got so much money from the Battle Pass alone that selling the Eevee actually got us like almost to the point where we can buy an Entei. Before I negotiate with anyone about buying an Entei, I needed to do what I do best. Open lucky blocks. I had 8 commons and 1 uncommon. If my luck was as good as it was earlier in this challenge, there's a chance I could get another legendary Pokemon here. I started opening my common lucky blocks and got a Wurmple and Feraligatr. Then I realized I actually had an extra lucky block in my chest, so I placed that one down as well. Then I got a Luxio, Badoo, Rotom, and Rimbombi. It doesn't take a genius to notice that that is only 6 Pokemon because 3 of them upgraded. Now I had 4 uncommon lucky blocks. Surely one of them would upgrade into rare, right? I opened the first one and no. But then you wouldn't believe it. 2 of the next 3 upgraded into rare lucky blocks. Boys, the PIXELMON gods are on our side today. Ooh, Deoxys. Okay, I'll take that. Not the best Pokemon in the world, honestly, but hey, a legend is a legend, and I'd rather have that than nothing. 3, 2, 1. Luckily, my second lucky block did not disappoint in the slightest. Dialga is one of the strongest Pokemon in the entire game. With a Dragon Steel typing, not many Pokemon are super effective against it, making it very hard to KO. Next, I sold my shiny Drifblim in the STS to gain another $3.3 thousand, putting me at $46,400. And out of curiosity, I went to check my progress on the Battle Pass, and it took me a while to realize, but I was now at level 53! That meant I could finally redeem the fusion key itself. So my last task to get a fusion Pokemon was to get myself an Entei. As I waited for someone to sell me an Entei, I decided it was a good opportunity to finally trade my Pokemon to level 100. So I activated my XP and warped to the training area. Luckily, the level 80 trainer only had Garchomps, which was 4 times weak to Ice, and Frieza knew Ice Beam, so it destroyed them in one hit. This made it pretty easy to level up my team quickly. But after a little while of leveling up my team, a player on the server gave me an Entei. And so I sent him $50,000 and went straight to the fusion room. I could not wait to get my hands on my first fusion Pokemon. I ran up to the computer and added Moltres to the left side and Entei to the right. Then I inserted the fusion key and waited for the magic to happen. Bang! Just like that, we have our hands on one of the coolest Pokemon of all time. Yo! Oh my gosh, bro. That is so sick! Not only does the Rough Trace look awesome, but it even has some insane stats to back it up. It's a pure Fire-type Pokemon with 110 HP, 140 attack, 80 defense, 120 special attack, 85 special defense, and 90 speed. And it even has the ability Intimidate, which lowers the opposing Pokemon's attack stat when it enters the battlefield. This Pokemon is sick. I decided to name it Hephaestus after the Greek god of fire. And while I was at it, I named Deoxys Virus because that's literally what he is, a virus from outer space. And I named Dialga Doctor Strange because he is the god of time. I finally had a full team of legendary Pokemon, and boy did it feel good. And after celebrating for a short while, I decided to go back to the training area to continue to level up my team. Fusion Pokemon are insanely strong, but they get even stronger at level 100 because every custom Pokemon on the server, whether it be a custom Paradox or a custom Fusion, gets its own signature move at level 100, and I wanted Hephaestus to learn it as soon as possible. Hephaestus's level 100 signature move is called Roar of the Inferno. It's a 120 base power physical move with 90 accuracy and a 50% chance to burn. And after a little while of training later, it happened. Hephaestus got to level 100 and learned the move Roar of the Inferno. Shortly after that, the rest of my Pokemon followed suit and became level 100 as well. Then I ensured that everyone on the team had the best possible moveset and held items. And it was at that moment that I realized it was time. Lieutenant Surge was about to have a very rude awakening. After my team was fully constructed, I raced straight to the gyms, found the electric one, and engaged the leader in battle. I led with Frieza, and boy oh boy did he get off to a hot start. I put the held item choice specs on him, which increases his special attacking moves by 50%, but it locks him into the first move used. So I just kept on clicking Side Strike, and it kept working. Eventually though, Mewtwo went down, so I immediately called on the great beast Hephaestus, and he did not disappoint. Shortly after, Virus came through as the cleanup crew and finished the battle. Boom! Yes! Let's go! Eat that, idiot! We finally got back at Lieutenant Surge and completely embarrassed him. I hope he goes crying to his mama. With the momentum, I went directly to the 6th gym, which was a dark type. To be honest, it was pretty scary. The leader took down 4 of my Pokemon, but I was still able to squeak through with a W. Now for the 7th gym, Steel type. This one went easier than the last one, with Hephaestus carrying once again. After this battle though, I did realize that many of the moves on my team, including Roar of the Inferno, only have 5 PP, meaning you can only use them 5 times per battle. So after I absolutely destroyed the steel type gym, I went to the mart to buy PP maxes to increase the 5 PP moves to 8. I maybe could totally use some of those in real life. Anyway, before challenging the final gym leader on the server, I wanted to get my hands on a Mega Rayquaza. I really wanted Noodle to go crazy in this final gym battle, because so far Frieza, Sponge, and Hephaestus have carried the team. So instead of challenging the gym, I challenged myself at the top of the boss tower. Wow, that is one handsome guy. Look at that jawline. Yo, this dude is chiseled. You guys would not believe what happened. Sirud absolutely destroyed Sirud. Can you guess which one won? It wasn't me. I lost. I'm not gonna lie, this battle made me consider retirement. At this rate, I really have no idea how I'm supposed to defeat it, or how I'm supposed to accomplish my goal of attaining a Mega Legendary Pokemon. I was starting to want to give up on that goal. At this point, the days were flying by, and I knew I didn't have much time left to accomplish the objectives I originally set out for. So I decided to run around spawn and look for more treasure hunts that I missed out on. I searched and searched, but it became more and more evident to me that these loot boxes were harder to find than I thought. That was until eventually I found this one and received a Master Ball. This was amazing and made me feel really confident if I ever battle another legendary Pokemon. I'm sure you know, but Master Balls have a 100% catch rate. And so next time I battle a legendary Pokemon, I can just throw this Master Ball at it and instantly catch it. I continued to search for treasure chests, but eventually I stumbled across this amazing room at spawn that I'd never seen before. It had all sorts of different textured Pokemon, and I wanted to get one so badly. My favorite was by far this Galaxy Rayquaza, but there were no treasure hunts in there, so I continued to look around spawn. Until I realized the spawn had actually changed and was now Easter themed, which meant there was an entirely new treasure hunt at Warp Easter Hunt. This was a different area, but essentially the same concept as how the loot boxes work at spawn, except this time they were Easter eggs. And because it's so similar, I don't want to bore you with the details, so I'll just tell you what I got from it real quick. 8 quick balls, $3,000, a legendary orb, 16 ultra balls, 5 rare candies, a lucky egg, $5,000, 16 XP candies, a daycare, a shiny stone, 2 turtle eggs, $7,500, a common lucky block, a potion of leaping, another master ball, a fusion shard, a fairy wand, 32 repeat balls, another common lucky block, 8 more rare candies, a specific Pokemon, $10,000, a random Pokemon egg, 3 PP maxes, 2 ability capsules, 32 dust balls, 16 ultra balls, a triple shiny choice, a lucky egg, and $5,000. And the whole reason I went to do these treasure hunts was to contemplate how I would approach the next couple of days to achieve my goals. And unfortunately, I never ended up coming up with a solid plan. And so I just decided to go home and continue to work on my home aesthetics. That is until I stumbled across a flaming Glameow. If you ever see a Pokemon with flames shooting off of it, that means it's part of the Poke Hunts. If you run the command/hunts, you can see them all. Essentially, the way it works is if you catch a Pokemon listed with the specific requirements, you get a reward. And similar to the gyms, the managers of the server allowed me to get Smash coins along with the regular rewards. So I caught the Glameow and received a big pearl, which you can sell for a decent amount of money at the mart, along with 200 Smash coins. And although buying more cosmetics was tempting, I knew that I had to spend these coins wisely in order to get a shiny legendary Pokemon. The best way to ensure I got a shiny legendary Pokemon was by breaking a Master Ball lucky block, which costed 2,500 Smash coins. So I decided to continue doing Poke Hunts and complete some of my bingo card. I decided to target the bottom of my bingo card because it consisted of the most common Pokemon. So I had to catch a Swinub, Pancham, Bellsprout, Frigibax, and Bunnelby. Shouldn't be too hard. First I RTP'd to a snowy biome and caught a Swinub. Not too long later I found a Frigibax and caught that as well. Next I found a level 10 Bellsprout and caught that. Then I went to target Bunnelby because I knew that he spawned in the forest, but unfortunately he only spawned during the day. So I teleported to a jungle biome because that is where Pancham spawned. And after just a couple minutes of searching, I found him. I caught him with a quick ball on the first try, and I was about to go back home until I stumbled across an ultra wormhole. These wormholes were exceptionally rare, and typically could only be spawned by 3 Pokemon, Arceus, Solgaleo, or Lunala. But sometimes, if you're really lucky, they'll spawn in the wilderness. And what happens if you go through the portal will shock you. The portal takes you to an entirely different dimension. This is where where many rare Pokemon spawned. It was very intense. Ominous music played as I roamed around the area. The gravity was low, but my heartbeat was not. This is where all the Ultra Beasts and many Paradox Pokemon spawned, so I knew I had a good opportunity to find some insanely rare Pokemon. And I know, a lot of people don't consider Ultra Beasts as legendary Pokemon, but I do, and I'm making the rules. One thing I noticed instantly about the Ultra Space Dimension was all of the raid bosses that were here. Raid bosses or raid dens are pretty much boss Pokemon that you get to battle with other players or random Pokemon, and if you defeat them, you get pretty good rewards. And so I decided to defeat every single one that I found. And as I was running around for a little while, I stumbled across my first very rare Pokemon. This was a Radiant Sail, a custom past Paradox form of Venusaur. And as much as I wanted to catch and use this Radiant Sail, since this video is a legendary only challenge, I am not allowed to. Now, I know that I've caught other Pokemon in the past, but that was strictly to complete bingo challenges or Poke hunts. Catching a Radiant Sail wouldn't accomplish anything except for me just being able to sell that Pokemon, which I didn't think was fair. Then I found this Ultra Ball loot, which gave me a Pixie Plate. And that's another really cool feature of the Ultra Space Dimension is there's a lot of these Ultra Ball loots, which give out really good items. If you collect all 17 different plates, then you can spawn in Arceus. And as much as I would love to do that in this challenge, I simply just didn't have enough time to collect all the different plates. I was honestly starting to get pretty upset because I had spent so much time in this challenge and still had no idea how I was supposed to accomplish some of my goals. Finding the Radiant Sail was cool at first because of how awesome and rare it was, but it made me pretty sad knowing that it could have been a legendary. I spent a lot of time in the Ultra Space because I knew it would be very challenging to get back if I ever wanted to, but I didn't really have any plans while I was there. I was kind of just hoping that an Ultra Beast or something would spawn, and so I ran and continued to claim every Beast Ball reward I could find until something unexpected happened. Oh my! No, is this real? Is this real? Oh my god! No way! Oh my god, please tell me. Yes, I have my Master Ball. Let's go! That's right, an Iron Nightmare spawned. A custom future Paradox Yveltal. This was easily one of the coolest Pokemon in the entire game, and trust me, it's as strong as it looks. It's an electric dark type Pokemon with 130 HP, 110 attack, 95 defense, 145 special attack, 100 special defense, and 109 speed. Its signature move is called Beyond the Void, which deals 100 damage with 90% accuracy. Flying on this thing was insane. It made me feel like I was in a Star Wars X-Wing. Then I finally decided to leave the Ultra Space Dimension, only to find out that it was nighttime. Then I found another flaming Pokemon, a Purugly, which was in the easy section of the Poke hunts, but I knew that if I caught it, I would get 200 Smash coins for it, so I decided to catch it quickly. And since it was night out, I decided to go to the training area so that I could quickly get my new Iron Nightmare up to level 100. And eventually, he became level 100. And he finally learned the move Beyond the Void. Also, I decided to name him X-Wing for obvious reasons. I also decided to put an Assault Vest on him as well. Assault Vest increased Pokemon's special defense by 50%, meaning his special defense would go from 236 to in the mid 300s. The only drawback with it is you can only use attacking moves, but luckily all 4 of X-Wing's moves are attacking. I thought the Assault Vest would make the most sense since his signature move requires a 1-turn recharge, meaning he'll have to take a hit from one Pokemon. And if I can set it up that Pokemon is a special attacker, theoretically X-Wing should be able to take it pretty well. And after building X-Wing up to be the strongest Pokemon it could be, I decided it was finally time to finish my bingo card. Shortly after, I found the Pokemon I sought after, a level 7 Bunnelby. Catching Bunnelby meant I completed my bingo. As a reward, I got a normal EMZ, which is actually a pretty rare item. And to confirm, I had completed the entire bottom row. So I checked my store balance and it was a perfect $2,500. I was torn. I didn't know if I went to get a custom textured egg or an epic lucky block. I'll admit, I also had some very intrusive thoughts to buy all the cosmetics that I could, but I finally decided to be a responsible 25-year-old man and do the right thing, which was to buy the epic lucky block. And so that is exactly what I did. This was the moment I had been waiting for so long. A guaranteed shiny legendary Pokemon, I would finally be able to accomplish my second goal. I threw some rare candies and a Master Ball on it for good luck. Then I took a deep breath, walked forward, and broke open the Master Ball Lucky Block. And I got a shiny Zeraora, which is my absolute favorite legendary Pokemon. And its shiny form is even cooler. And I haven't even mentioned the best part about it. You see, Mewtwo has the ability to fuse with two Pokemon. One is a Dragonite, and the other, you guessed it, Zeraora. The problem is we don't have a fusion key right now, but we do have 8 fusion shards. And so all we need to get a fusion key is a fusion core. Then we can craft the key. But that was a lot easier said than done. I scoured the GTS and instantly found 2 fusion cores, each selling for $190,000. And at the time, I only had $68,000, meaning I had to find a way to come up with over $120,000. I sold just about every single item that I have accumulated over this 100 days. I sold my Master Ball, I sold my Normalium Z, I even sold all 4 of my legendary orbs. But after selling everything in my chests, I worked my way up to $115,000, which meant that I needed $75,000 more in order to afford the core. I weighed my options, and there wasn't all that much I could do except to sell one of my own. The Deoxys that we named Virus had a very special place in my heart. He helped me so much in our gym conquest and is an essential part of the team. Unfortunately though, there's only room for 1 psychic Pokemon, which means Virus has to go. And so I gave him one last hug, said my goodbyes, and listed him on the global trade system for $110,000. This was a sad, sad day. You will be missed dearly. Okay, no one was buying him, so I changed his list pricing to $70,000. It's kind of awkward. I really need the money. And not too much longer, the Deoxys was purchased for $70,000, which meant that we now had over $200,000 and could finally afford a fusion core. So without any hesitation, I instantly bought myself one of the fusion cores. Then I grabbed all 8 shards that we had and crafted myself a fusion key. The goal of this 100 days was not necessarily to make fusion Pokemon. However, if I have the ability to, I certainly will. And also having fusion Pokemon will help me in one of my ultimate goals, which is to get a mega legendary Pokemon. And so the plan was set in stone. Go to the fusion chamber, fuse Mewtwo and Zeraora together to create Mewtwo, and use him along with our other amazing Pokemon to finally destroy the Sirud NPC boss and attain a Mega Ring. Then we can finally Mega Evolve Noodle to become the strongest Rayquaza on the entire server. Mewtwo was easily the biggest glass cannon on the team. Where it severely lacked in defenses, it completely made up for in attack and speed. Before I did challenge the Sirud NPC one more time, there was one last thing I had to do. Destroy the last gym. The final gym was a fire type. Its team consisted of 2 legendaries, being Heatran and Volcanion, and it also had a Charizard, Incineroar, Ninetales, and Blaziken. And just like that, we did it! The final gym was defeated. Mewtwo and Hephaestus carried us to victory, and as a reward, we got $10,000 and 3 Master Balls. But now it was time for the real challenge, the Sirud NPC. I warped right to the boss tower and went to the top of it, only to find my arch nemesis, myself. I challenged him, full of confidence, and he led with the same Pokemon, Spiritomb. I led with X-Wing, and they battled it out and essentially KO'd each other, but they drew first blood and Spiritomb went down. So then I called on Hephaestus to finish off Spiritomb, and the next Pokemon he sent out was Lucario, but not just any Lucario, a Mega Lucario. But as soon as I clicked my move, Hephaestus was down. That shocked me quite a bit. Then I sent out Sponge, and bang! One after another, my Pokemon went down. I was watching my dream turn into my biggest nightmare, and just 5 short turns later, it was all over. All of that hard work just to get destroyed again. And that meant no Mega Ring for me and no Mega Evolution for Noodle. And so I went home With my head down in shame, I've concluded that I'm not the Pokemon master I once thought I was. There wasn't much time left in these 100 days, and certainly not enough to challenge my NPC again. And so, I decided to give up hope. A Mega Legendary Pokemon was just too difficult, and I needed more time. And although I was amidst a mental breakdown, I'm still a man of my word, and decided to spend my last few days building a gym of my own. And as promised, it will be a gym that you guys can battle. But don't worry, this NPC will not be level 140, and it also won't publicly humiliate you, and destroy you, and pulverize you, and wreck you, and scar you like the other one did at the boss tower. The gym leader of this gym will be my actual level 100 team, and if you guys beat it, you'll get an epic crate key. And guys, with the gym up and running, sadly, that concludes this 100 days in Legendary only Pixelmon. If you guys want me to do another 100 days, comment down below, and hopefully I'll be able to get my hands on that Mega Ring once and for all.